All right, this is the Heinz interview. If you have that little dog you bought for Christmas and it's starting to grow, I think you should talk to this gentleman. It's Mr. Richard Heinz, and he's kind of a famous guy. He claims that he's the Miami dog whisperer. Hi, welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you.
All right, dogs. They've got cute little things in the window, right? And then they get big. Then what happens?
Some get really big.
As one person in our studio found out. All right, now, and a lot of people buy dogs that are not trained. They just because they're puppies. Where do you begin?
Well, everybody buys dogs because they're puppies.
Yes.
Small, large, what they're going to be in the end.
You're right.
With no concept of what it takes to own one.
Right.
How to raise one. It's a dog.
Yeah.
It's not human. They
Right.
they have different instincts. They have
Right.
different social patterns. Not the same as us.
Social patterns too? Oh, what clubs do they go out on Saturday night? So what kind of training do you do? Do you start with day one, or they ring the phone and say, come over now, the dog is chewing down the furniture or something?
Most people wait until things go bad and they can't take anymore. Because everybody has the perception that when they're going to buy a dog, it's going to be great.
Yeah.
We don't need a trainer.
Right.
Everybody's had a dog. You know, why do we have to have somebody help us? It's easy. You buy them, you feed them, you love them.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's
what else is there?
Well, when I was a kid, our dog did fine. We had no problem with our dog at all. But now I find out that people have dogs and they leave the house, they start chewing things. What causes that?
Anxiety.
Anxiety.
Boredom. The dog, most dogs, like the case that we just came from, they get lost. So now what happens is they have these two little dogs.
Yeah.
Every time you walk in the house, they're spinning and buzzing, and they can't stop. And you sit down, they're on your head, they're all over the place, they can't settle down.
Why are they chasing, going around the whole circle?
There's no discipline, there's no structure. They're lost internally, they don't know who they are. Dogs have to have pack structure. If you don't give pack structure, and they're not getting that much exercise.
What do you mean by a pack structure?
Well, all dogs live by almost military rules where there has to be a hierarchy. There has to be a line.
So you got to take your dog out of the house and go find a pack someplace?
Well, you have to create that in your house. You have to have your own pack.
You become the pack leader.
You become the pack.
And how do you do that? Put a badge on or what?
Well, you have to establish rules in the house.
Yeah.
I mean, there's structure, laws.
The dog doesn't talking back to you. How do you?
They
how
talk
do you
back.
give them instructions?
Well, what we always go over with people, and everything's always done wrong because they humanize.
Yeah.
So they start talking to them verbal, thinking the dog's going to understand what they want.
Right.
Things never change.
Right.
It gets worse because the dog starts getting more hyper, spinning, goes away, the same behavior always.
So how do you talk to a dog?
Body language is the key.
You stand up and look at them like this?
Yeah, well, calmness. When you posture, your body language is the most important thing.
Really?
So just like when we came from this case, just in the house, they always crash people when they come to the front door. They go crazy. All I did was hiss at them. I didn't let them touch me.
You did what to him?
I just hissed at them a little bit.
What do you mean
just give them a little.
You did it. Is that the secret of the whole business?
That's the secret. That's a lot of it.
Well, I mean, what does this do?
You can't let a dog jump on you.
Obviously.
You know, and do this and everything else.
Yeah.
Now you're not getting respect, one, because by law, dog law, they start doing that to you. They can't listen to you. That's DNA.
They're doing their thing. So if you went up, like I went to Blatty's house the other night, that dog came roaring out the front door, jumped up on the gate, and if I went sit, that dog would do it?
A lot of cases, yes. Not sit, but you hiss at him, he'll stop.
Really?
They'll stop coming because now you just stop the brain. So now just in this case, all I had to do is, and they just went back.
I noticed you put your
I put my finger.
One finger like that.
And I just hissed at them, and they just sat back. They don't know what that is. They just sat back and looked at me, and they're looking at each other like,
"What's going on
with this guy?"
Yeah, right. What's with this guy? Right. Let's take a bite out of him.
This is new.
Huh?
Yeah, but then from there they didn't jump on me.
What's the worst case you ever had with a dog?
An American Bulldog.
Oh, well, you picked up a good one. Right.
American Bulldog.
Was he stubborn?
Oh no, he's. I got a call from one of my customers that was at a vet's office. I hear chaos, I hear things jumping over, I hear people screaming, the whole thing, like a building was coming down.
All right.
They're evacuating the building.
At the vet's?
At the vet's office.
Okay.
So they evacuate the building, and I'm hearing what's going on. So they got the pole, and they're going to Noose the Dog because he's biting everybody. The owner, he's going after everybody. So they want to put him to sleep. And that was her intention when she went there, was to put the dog to sleep. Her family was trying to make her put this dog to sleep. They thought he was insane. So I told her, just hold off, you know, let him give him back to you. After he calms down, take him, and I'll be there. Tomorrow.
And you came over and went, shh.
Well, I went there,
what?
And I want to see, you know, what the problem is. I knew it's a fear response. When a dog flips out like that, he's in terror. He's fighting for his life. So he's scared. He's not aggressive. He's terrified.
All right, I'll go for that.
So he lost teeth in the process, banging his head against the walls, the floors, the whole thing. 7 people had to jump on him, noose him.
Would you sit down and talk to him or what?
Well, I wasn't there, so.
No, what was your secret when you arrived?
Well, when I got to her house, he was in the back at the glass doors. And he started barking at me. And
you gave him that look.
Well, I just waited a sec. He sat down, he went to sleep. And I said, but there you go. He's not aggressive. If he was aggressive, he would have kept slamming his head against the glass. He would want to kill me. He wouldn't give it up.
So what did you do now? You just
went I told her, bring him in the house, put him on a leash, and don't let him come close at first. Let him feel it. I'm going to see. Well, I want her to know, too, because she thinks he's aggressive. And I know he's not aggressive. He comes in the house, and he runs past me with his tail between his legs. And I said, yeah, but you see, he wouldn't come close to me. You couldn't get him close to me.
You're the boss of the pack.
He knows from my being.
Does he smell other dogs on you? Because you're around dogs.
Well, they do. Yeah. They do.
So they know that you got.
Well, that, but he knows my presence. That's what starts to happen. Dogs know your presence. Oh, really? So just like these dogs, you know, him, I sat there, I was calm. Then eventually he came up and he sniffed. He wouldn't go near anybody. He won't go near anybody, and everybody's terrified because he'll snap at him. He's so terrified.
He's in fear.
But I'm calm. I know I can't react to him.
So how do you remove the fear out of the dog, then?
Well, with him, it's so severe.
Yeah.
You know, you have an elderly woman who can't walk him.
Right.
And she's afraid going outside, he might bite somebody.
Yeah.
So he never got walked. He was never social. He never left his house. So this guy doesn't know the outside world. He's dangerous. Now he's dangerous. So now you put him in a position, somebody comes up to her, he's going to bite him. He's going to tear him apart because it's fear.
So did you take the dog away from her?
Yeah, what I did was it was so bad that I worked with her for a few weeks at the house, warming him up to me.
Yeah.
Then I took him home. Yeah. Of course, he tried to kill me. When I got him to my house, you know, I had to put a pillow in front of me, and so he couldn't attack me with the leash and everything else. 3 days, I left him alone. I ignored him. I didn't even pay attention to him because that's how you do dog. If you have problems,
how do you do dog? You don't pay any attention?
Exactly, because that draws them. So especially a dog who has fear.
Because they want to please, or what?
Well, if you have fear, and this is why people get bit. Because people walk up the dog straight on and they go, hey, but the dog's a nervous dog. That's when you get, he starts biting at you.
Well, when you go up to a dog, aren't you supposed to just kind of put your hand out and let them smell you a little bit? That's maybe the second stage.
Well, that's what people used to say, but you shouldn't do that because you don't know a lot of dogs today have nerve problems because they're not being brought up properly. It all stems from human. Human creates dog problems.
Psst, can you give a dog a downer?
Well, I have a case that.
I just want to know.
There are people put them on medication to calm them down and to stabilize.
Now, do you have a big compound like the guy in California has, where if the dog like the one you just had, you took him out there and stuck him in that
Well,
pack.
I took him to my house. At the time, I didn't have a facility.
How many dogs do you have at the house?
Right now, I have about 6.
Oh, 6? Yeah. Okay, and the city the health department didn't come after you yet? No. So no, that's all right. That's teasing. But anyways, you took that dog home, and he saw the other dog.
Yeah, what I did was, because if I put pressure on him and I acknowledge him, he tries to attack. Yeah. Because his nerves are fraying. If I ignore him, he calms down. Because I'm not putting pressure on him.
But how did he work with the other dogs?
Well, what I had to do was I had to have him tied in my house.
So the other dogs could
pass him.
He would see what he's all about.
Exactly. He would feel it out. I didn't look at him. And then in a few days, I took a risk. I played with my other American Bulldog. I knew he was going to fall for it eventually. And all of a sudden, he started wagging his tail, and he was looking. And
where have you been all our lives?
Now he wanted to play with me. So I took a risk, and I took him off. And he ran and slammed me and knocked me over, licked me over the head, gave me a bath, and from that point on, we're the best of friends.
Best of friends. It's amazing. Do you encourage people to have dogs in their homes, or maybe one dog? And what happens when these little things become huge things?
Well, really the biggest problems that we see now are the little dogs.
The little ones?
It's the little ones now.
What are they doing?
Well, because the problem is when you humanize, you're causing dysfunction.
Yeah.
So that's why